Good afternoon, Brevard. It is Thursday, January 27th. And as most of you know, we are expecting some unusual weather for the Sunshine State coming up this weekend. And I know a lot of you might be concerned about your plants and what you can do to protect them. So I am here with Brian Tafoya. Brian is a Florida certified horticulture professional. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Brian is also a Florida certified landscape maintenance technician, one of our most knowledgeable team members, and we're here to talk about cold protection. So, Brian, if this was your yard and you were prepping, what would be the steps you would take?
I would, I know the stuff that's in my yard, and I've got a good idea of what is going to have an issue with this coming Saturday night into Sunday. But let's pretend you don't really know for sure which plants you should cover or do anything about. IFAS from the University of Florida, the Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, is a great resource for that. So if you do know the name of the plant, or even just kind of have a general idea of it, check out their website and find out what zone they grow in. And if they do well in our area, 9B, 10A-ish area, then they're probably going to have issues because we're getting really cold, unusually cold. It hasn't been this cold for a little while.
So research your plant and its cold hardiness zone, this USDA zone. And if it's really saying it's got that narrow zone of 9 or lower, these are the ones that that you might be experiencing some problems with, right?
Yeah, so if it's like it was zone in 8 or less, then less of an issue, especially if it's an established plant like shrubbery and stuff. Like your viburnums will catch damage, but if they've been there for a while, it may only be like the leaves and those more tender stems, and then everything will regrow. But if you've got like understory tropical, true tropical, like 9 and beyond, 10, 11, then definitely try to cover them if you can. If they're
What are we going to cover it with?
A type of cloth that is best if it can breathe, but not too thin. Like I tried bed sheets once and it wasn't great. But if that's the only thing you have, then bed sheets. Burlap,
better than nothing, right?
Better than nothing. Burlap is a good one. Plastics, we use those for greenhouses. An issue with plastic sometimes, though, is it does too good of a job at holding in everything. And so all the transpiration of a plant, all the moisture that it off-gasses will stay in there and accumulate, and that can freeze. I found that if you can keep the material off of the plant, like I tried covering my tomatoes once with bed sheets and they were laying right on the plant and everything burned. Whereas the one that I had like bamboo stakes kind of just keeping a little bit of a distance from the foliage, from the material, the bed sheet froze, but the plant stayed warmer.
So cool. Okay. So stake it up. Don't have it directly on the plant if you can avoid it. And then do I have it on all day? When do I? No.
Of course, you'll put it on at night because you don't want to wake up at like 2 a.m. to do this. But really, you're worried about the later part of the morning. That's the coldest part. Anybody who's been camping more than a dozen times knows that if they got cold, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning that you got your coldest. It's going to be the same thing. So really, it's that couple of hours. Hopefully, it's only a couple of hours that you're trying to protect. As soon as the sun comes up, everything starts to warm up. So you want to get the material off the plant so it can do its thing.
Breathe and photosynthesize and all that good stuff. So when we were talking earlier, you were saying that something you might prioritize if you're, if you got to kind of make some choices about what you're going to protect and what you're going to cover. Anything tropical that's in a pot, you can bring it indoors, right?
Hopefully.
And then unless it's enormous.
If you can't though, I one time had enormous plants and I moved it to the south-facing wall of my house because generally when weather comes in to Florida and it's cold, the wind is usually moving from the north. So if you can cut down on the wind blowing on it real hard, that's going to pull moisture harder from the plant. The plant's going to burn even faster.
Okay.
So if you can get it on a south wall, and I even laid mine down because the area was all concrete, and just that radiating heat from the concrete from the day was enough to save stuff. So I had my tomatoes kind of lined up just the way I planted it, closest to the wall and then kind of going out. And the ones that were the furthest away from the wall died, and it was kind of funny because I had like 5 of them, and this one was dead, this one was dead, a little less dead, almost not dead, and then this one was almost like totally normal, and it was the closest to the wall.
Okay, so get them on a south-facing side of your house if that's possible, if these are movable. Now, what about a raised bed garden, like a vegetable and herb garden? What would you do there?
Trying to cover that.
We want to cover that. So that would be something to prioritize if you have an herb or a veggie garden.
Tomatoes will absolutely burn in this weather. The lettuces as well. Broccolis, like brassica plants, they're a little bit more hardy. You shouldn't have it. Well, if you got eggplants, those are definitely in trouble too, but not the greatest time of year to try to do eggplants.
We wouldn't have eggplants planted this time of year anyway.
Well, we did.
We pride ourselves here in Florida about being able to start tomatoes in January. Only occasionally does that plan bite us in the butt, as it looks like it's going to do here at the tail end of January. All right, any other, like, especially, I was hearing you say, sorry, what is it? Not firebush.
Snowbush.
Snowbush. Why can I think the name of this plant?
Let's see. I look over
there. Copperleaf, and then the
roses are in trouble.
And firebush, right?
Yes.
Firebush. Yeah, I was.
And so the thing about that
right at the beginning,
is there are certain plants that they'll take damage, but they'll recover. And firebush is one of them, especially if it's well established. If you planted it not long ago, if it's only like a couple of feet high, then it's a problem. Cover those. But if it's well established and the thing's been here a couple of summers and you've hacked at the thing a bunch and it's got some good sized trunkage on it, a lot of that could freeze and damage, but what's down below is probably going to be alive and will return.
All right. So today is Thursday. We're expecting the worst of the weather on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be sending out some more resources. Definitely check out UF IFAS, and then we'll be back on Monday with Brian to talk about what does cold damage look like and how do we take care of it from there once the cold damage happens, because plants are resilient. They're going to come right on back.
That's right.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.